Welcome to week 6, the final week of Age Less Play More. I'm so happy that you've got here. Congratulate yourself for getting here. Hopefully you're really on target now to be reprogramming yourselves to live young for longer. So this week it's E, and it's all from the Twin Me methodology, and it's evolve. It's how do you create this dynamic process. So I mentioned that every 3 months, every 6 months, every year, you choose, you might review the process. And this is where you want to really get into understanding what you're doing. So we're going to use the ABCs method. And when you're looking at what you're doing, this is when you get your tracker and you have a look and you see how you've been doing. So you may have been doing really well, and you might go, actually, I feel like that is a done deal now. That's so automatic, I can add a new one. But I'm really looking at the ones where you haven't done so well. So then you've got to ask yourself, you go through this process, the ABCs, to figure out what you're going to do with this habit. So the first, the ABC. So the first the A is the action. So what is the habit that you're trying to incorporate? What is that? And are you really clear on it? I have to say, I've got one that says eat clean, and I'm constantly having to tweak that because I don't do so well. I was like, tweak it. And when you're tweaking it, you're also thinking, how important is this to me? Is this a really key one for me to do? Because it might be that you haven't achieved it because you don't really have the motivation. So rather than just keeping it on there, maybe it's like, well, maybe I replace that with something else. This isn't, nothing's in stone. This is for things to evolve as you evolve. So you've got to be very clear. What is it? What is the action that I'm taking? Am I clear on it? For example, I said the exercise that you might, it might be exercise is one, but, you might not have done so well. And it's like, okay, where have I not done well? It's like, oh, am I not clear in it? It's like I'm really good at doing my Monday, Thursday, because it's sort of I'm on a quest and the guy sends me an email and says, do this. But I'm not so good in those, I'm not so good on the other days. So is it something that I just have to tweak the action? Or maybe I don't need to tweak the action. The action's clear. I want that action. What I need to look at is the B, which is the before. What happens before? What's the trigger? What is the trigger for me to do that? So I said to you, maybe I get an email from the guy that says, hey, today it's Monday, you could do this exercise. Maybe I need to set a trigger for myself on the next day to say, what am I going, so say for example, it's Wednesdays, and Wednesday's my dance day. Maybe I need to set a trigger, which could be an alarm on my phone, to say, hey, don't forget to do your dance. So maybe I need to look at what I do before. And, this is again, if you're not if you haven't created, haven't been really good in achieving that goal, is look and say, okay, is there a way that I can do something before this to make it happen? And doing it before is go back to that habits idea. How can I make it more likely to happen? And it might be just tagging it to something that you already do. So it may be that that's all you need to do, but you just really need to look as what are the triggers. Do I need to add a trigger in, or what's happening before that's doing this? So really get to grips with what's happening. And the C is consequence. What happens when I do this? And really think about that. And it might just be that for whatever happens, and the consequence of achieving it or not achieving it. And it might be like, I haven't really celebrated my wins. Like I sort of did, 7 in a row, and then I sort of fell off. But actually I didn't really, when I did 7 in a row, I didn't really celebrate myself. There was no real reward for myself for doing that. So why am I going to keep doing it? So so I want you to be, you know, when you're looking and you're evolving your actions and your habits, it's like, what's the habit? Am I clear on it? What are the triggers? Do I need to add some in to make it happen? What are the consequences? Do I need to reward myself? And it might just be that the consequences that you don't really care. There's nothing. It's a nothing. It's a nothing if you do it. It's a nothing if you don't. Then take it off. Because you don't want it to stay there and it then feel like a failure because you haven't done it. This is your empowering playbook. This is your empowering playbook of vitality codes. And you want ones there that are moving the needle in the direction that you want to go. And you want to be able to check. None of us are 100% all the time, probably. There are some that are easy to be 100%. Like expressing gratitude for me is easy to do every day because I just do it every day. But I keep it on my list. Why do I keep it on my list? Well, I keep it on my list because it's important to me. You don't have to have only things you can't do on there. Like if you can do something really, really important there, that's good. You know, whatever it is, it might be easier. It might just be reconnect with my, you know, just send it. It might be connect with a friend, and that connect with a friend may be as simple as giving them an emoji and a thumbs up emoji on one of their posts on Facebook. Or it might be calling them, or it might be arranging to go out for a coffee date. It might look in different ways, but just know that they're yours. These are your vitality codes. They're not mine. They're yours. So you can make them work. But I just want to give you tools for when they're not working, where do you go? And what's the trigger? Look at the trigger. Can you improve the trigger? Maybe tag them to something else, but you can do an alarm or whatever. The trigger to do it, what happens before the action. And then the consequence of the action, because if every time you go to the gym, you actually literally come out and you feel sick. And then it's like, oh, hold it a second. That isn't, like a little bit of discomfort, fine. You'd actually really feel sick and that goes on for ages. Then you need to go, okay, this action isn't the one that I need. This isn't the one I need. I need to change that. So this is how you evolve this process. This is why this document becomes a dynamic process. And that is pretty much all I want to say. This last one is very, very short. I would love you I'd like to say thank you to you for being here. I would like to say thank you to all of you who donated a Vitameal to feed a child for a month. I would like to say to those of you who didn't, would you consider it? No pressure. But if you got value from this, maybe that is a way you could pay that forward. Or perhaps, you would just like to recommend this to a friend in the future. I would love it if you would fill out a feedback form for me. And I'd like you to repeat the self-assessment form that we did at the beginning, because I want you to have a look and see, has it made a difference for you? Has this course made a difference, or has it not? Please feed back to me either way, because that's how I will make it better in the future if it goes on. So yeah, I really, really like that feedback, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. And finally, one of the things that I will do if anybody is interested is, a lot of people think, well, how can I have some more income generation? Now, I have my own side gig. This is not going to be me saying, hey, do what I'm going to do. You're welcome to, but it's not that. But it's about how you might think about income generation. And guess what? I have acronyms. I have the Cable approach to thinking of all the ways you can make extra money, and an I can do it to really hone down on what might be the best way for you. So if anyone's interested in that, please message me. I would love your feedback on all of this course. I've loved actually sharing with you, and I look forward to seeing you in the group. And the group is going to stay open, so it's a 6-week course, but the group's going to stay open for at least 3 months, because that's when transformation happens. And I would love this group to become part of your accountability and to continue sharing how you're doing, because that's how we grow. And I want this group to be a really supportive network. Part of maybe even, we can do the occasional virtual coffee morning in here to sort of create some social support. So I want it to be a really important, I want it to have been really impactful on you. If it hasn't, feel free to tell me that. That's fine. I'm not going to be offended. But if it has been, also please feel free to tell me, because I'd love to hear that. Okay, wishing you nothing but joy, peace and abundance, and see you soon.